Hello viewers, welcome to yet another edition of our short tutorials. In this edition, we are going to look at a number of issues. The first one we'll look at is to write a C++ code that will display a triangular stars, or that will display stars in the form of a triangle. Then we will look at another C++ program that will display numbers from 0 to 200, and then again we will look at a C++ program that will display odd numbers between 0 and 200, and finally we will look at a C++ program to display even numbers between 0 and 200. Now let's start with the one to display stars in the form of a triangle. This we are going to use a nested loop. So we'll use a for loop, and in this for loop where our iterator will be equated to 0, int I equals 0, then I is less than or equal to 5. This means this is going to be our control variable, which is going to display our stars to have 5 height. In other words, the number of rows will be 5. If we change this number to 6, we are going to have the number of rows to be 6. But for the meantime, let's restrict it to 5. And then here we will increment our loop control variable. Then we'll come here and we'll see out an end line, and then we'll go back here and then nest another loop inside. We are going to nest another for loop inside, and with this we'll call the loop control variable, say k, and then again we'll equate that one to 0, and then here our k will be less than or equal to I, which we have already used in the first loop, and then we'll increment our second control variable, and this one this is where we are going to print the star. So we'll see out and print star, then we'll end line. Yes, so this is the simple structure, the nesting of loops. So the loop inside another loop, the outer loop is going to print a new line, then the inner loop will print the star. So the inner loop is going to handle the columns, and then the outer loop will also handle the rows. That is what it means. So while the inner loop prints one star and increments up to it will increment up to what? 5 stars. Then the outer loop will also carry it and then put it in the various columns. So let's run this program and see. Yes, let me magnify it a bit. Then we have a, sorry, yeah. So this is it. This is the, let's reduce the magnifier so that we'll see it clear. Yes, so this is it. We have our 5 stars down. If you count from here, that will be 6, because we we equated I to 5 and we initialized it at 0, which means it's going to count from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, making 6 stars. So it starts from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. If we equate the loop control variable, if we initialize it at 1, or if we initialize it to 1, and then we run this loop, it is going to give us 5 stars. Or if we had said the loop control variable is less than 5, then it would have given you 5 stars exactly. So that is it. Viewers, this is the program to print stars in the form of a triangle. That is it. We nest the loop. So yeah. So the next program is going to be a C++ program that will print that will print numbers from 0 to 200. That one too, we are still going to use a loop. I want us to continue that program here in another block. We will just bring our curly braces and work within there. That is going to give us another block of what? Code. So we'll work within here. Yes, so we'll use a for loop. Again, we'll initialize it. I is equal to 0. Then here, I is what? Less than or equal to 200. Then we'll increment our I. Once you do this, you can go ahead to print cout I, simple, and then you end line. Once if you run this code, you are going to have numbers from 0 to 200 because we initialize it to 0 and then we say it is equal to or less than what? Less than or equal to 200. Then we increment it, which means it's going to the first run will cout 0 and then it will loop again until the iterator is less than or equal to 200. So if we run it, we are going to have our, wow, that's it. Yes, you can see it. After the triangle, the first block of code will cout these triangular stars. And then the second one, you can see it running from 0 all the way down to 200. From 0 all the way down to 200. Yes, this is it. 0 to 200, as you can see. So that is it. A very simple loop structure to print out numbers from 0 to 200. Yes, the next program is also going to print out numbers that are odd and are between 0 and 200. So rather than printing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through 200, this time it is going to print out only those numbers that are odd numbers and they fall within this range, 0 to 200. Again, we are going to continue this program on the same coding platform. We will again introduce our curly braces and work within there. So this is the second program that we just did, and then we are going to work within these braces for the third program, which is going to be another loop to print out odd numbers between 0 and 200. Here Very simple. We are still going to use our for loop. This time I will be fast a bit. Int I is equal to 0. I is less than or equal to 200. Then I plus plus. We increment it. And then here again, we print out the numbers that fall within 0 to 200. Which are these numbers? How do we get them? A number is an odd number if that number modulo 2 is true. In other words, if that number modulo 2 will give you a number other than 0. For instance, if you divide that number by 2, you are supposed to get a remainder. That is the meaning in mathematics, that the number modulo 2 or the number mod 2 is true. In other words, the number mod 2 will give you a number, will give you a remainder. All right. The number divided by 2 will give you a remainder. That is the meaning. So we are going to use an if statement within the loop. This if statement is to check whether the number that the loop is trying to print is divisible by 2 or is not divisible by 2. So if that I mod 2 is true, in other words, if I divide by 2 will give you a remainder. That is very simple. So if I mod 2, then the program should print out, it should see out that particular number. So any I or any value of I within the range specified by this loop, that 0 to 200, any number that is within that range, which is a number, when you divide by 2, there's a remainder. That is the meaning of this statement within this bracket, I mod 2. Any number that falls within or that has those characteristics is what this output statement is going to print. Very simple. So again, we are going to run this program, and then we'll see what is happening. Very good. Let us see. As you can see, yes, as you can see. Oh, sorry. Let's run it again. Yes, this is it. Yes, you can see them as they are being printed. Let's lift this magnifier here. I want it to be big so that we can all see. That's why I brought the magnifier to magnify it. Then all of us will see what is happening. Yes, this is it. So you can see them. It has printed some up, but you can see 149. 150 is skipped because 150 divided by 2 will not give you a remainder. Then it moved to 151. So these are all odd numbers. These ones we are seeing here are all odd numbers. And that is what we have asked the program to print, that the number divided by 2 should give you a remainder. All these numbers, if we divide them by 2, we will get a remainder. Yes. So that is it. That is it. So then this brings us to the end of this one. We are again going to write the last program, which is to print numbers within the same range that are even numbers. Here, I will want us to do some little explanation. Here, when we use I mod 2, we said that it means I divide by 2 will give you a remainder. A reverse of this statement will be an even number. In other words, when you divide the number by 2 and there is no remainder, it means it is an even number. That is the simple definition of even number in mathematics. So, how do we reverse this code in C++? We do that by introducing exclamation mark in front of the bracket. If we introduce exclamation mark here, it means if this is not. This one is called the logical not operator. The exclamation mark is called the logical not operator. Let's take that, the logical not operator, which means when you introduce it before a statement, it means that statement is not true, or you are looking for the reverse of that particular statement. So here, if we introduce it here, it means we are looking for the reverse of what? I mod 2. Or if I mod 2 is not true, that is the meaning. So once we introduce this here, we now bring the braces to include the if statement. So we bring one bracket here and bring another bracket here. So this bracket is what encloses the statement I mod 2 reverse. That is it. So if we do this, it means we are all the numbers that will be printed will be what? Even numbers. So in simple terms, we are just going to introduce the logical not operator for the statement that is meant to check whether the number is odd or even. So if we do that, we are now checking whether the number is even. It means if the number is not odd, print it. That is the meaning of it by introducing the logical not operator. It means if the number I that is going to, that I that the loop, this loop structure, the for loop here is looping through numbers 0 to 200. If it gets to any number and this condition, I mod 2, is not true on that number, it should be printed here. That is the meaning. So let's run the code again, because we have just used the same code by and introduce only this word, logical not operator. And then when we run it, we are going to have the program printing even numbers. Exactly. Take a look. Let's magnify it so that we can see it very well. Yes. So this is it. Where the first one printed 149, it printed up to 149, 152. Let's go up. Let's go up. Yes. So this was the one which printed the this was the one which printed the 0 to 200. Yes, this was the one which printed the 0 to 200. Yes, so we can now see them 0 to 200 running up. Yes. After that, we will see this one that we just printed. Yes. So you, as you can see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, all the way down. Look at them. 20, 24, 40, as you can see, all the way down. All these are even numbers. Yes. To what? 200. So that is the meaning of, or that is the how to use the logical not operator. So the first time we tried to print odd numbers by introducing this statement I mod 2, and then we again introduced the logical NOT operator for the same statement to print the opposite of odd numbers, which is what? Even numbers. With this, we have come to the end of our short coding this time. Thanks so very much. I'm just going over again once more, and then we will draw curtains on this. The first program we wrote was to use nested loops to print out stars in the form of a triangle. And I said this is the first loop. This is the first loop. And the first loop is just going to print out the first loop is going to print out empty space, or it's just going to print out nothing. And the second loop, which has been nested within it, this for loop, is the one that will print out the star. And when you nest them like this and run it, you have the star starting 1, the next row 2, the next row 3, until it meets the number of rows as specified by the loop control variable here. Then the next program we wrote was the one to print out numbers from 0 to 200. This is it. Very simple loop. And then moving forward, we printed another 0 to 200, but this time only numbers that are odd. And we did that without the use of this logical NOT operator. This wasn't there. This wasn't there. The logical NOT operator was not there. We only used the I mode 2, and that worked perfectly for us. Then lastly, we have used the same program, the same code by introducing the logical NOT operator to print out even numbers within the same range, 0 to 200. And with this, we'll draw curtains on our simple but short coding exercise. Thanks so very much. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Strongman Tahiru, and then you'll read or view more of our short programs that will excite you. Goodbye.